It's all cold down along the beach.
Yes, ladies and gents, it's that time of year once again, Christmas time. The time of hope, peace, joy, love, and trying not to get trampled in the lineup at Walmart for a PlayStation 4. Okay, I'm not going to start on the commercialization of Christmas. Not today. What I would like to talk about are Christmas specials. Yes, every year when we're digging out Christmas lights, brewing eggnog, and trying not to empty our bank accounts on computer software, we also get to take in our favorite Christmas specials, movies, and music. Now, I'd really like to review one of these classics with you, but since I have to pick a special that fits my budget, I've had to lower my standards somewhat. Now, we all know that for every Christmas special that becomes a timeless classic, there are at least a dozen stinkers out there. But for this review, I discovered a bomb that surprised even me. A Christmas special so bad that no one even wants to remember it. This abomination is called White Christmas.
I'm dreaming of a
No, not that White Christmas. There are plenty of people who want to remember that. And even though it's not exactly my cup of tea, it still isn't a terrible film. No, the White Christmas I'm talking about is a cartoon TV special produced by the BBC in the 90s. It's about a little girl named Dorothy and her brother Peter who have never had a white Christmas and just wish for it to snow once over the holidays. And then things get weird. They end up on a journey that involves leprechauns, hobgoblins, wizards, and whatever this thing is. But the weirdest part isn't in the show itself. I mean, there are plenty of kids' shows that go into a lot of random crap. What sets this show apart from the rest of the Christmas special schlock is the fact that the world seems to have forgotten it. A few of my family members who also watched it back in the day remember it. Not too fondly, I might add. But when I went online to look for some information on it, the show was nowhere to be found. Now, let me emphasize this. The internet does not have a record of this special. The internet, which remembers everything, even the things no one wants to remember, has forgotten this. I couldn't find it on YouTube. I couldn't find it on Dailymotion. I couldn't find it on uTorrent. Not even Reddit could offer me a lead. The only trace I found that even seems like it could be this special is an old TV Guide webpage for the BBC from 1999. This simple archived webpage lists White Christmas playing early in the morning on Christmas Day of 1999. That's the only mention of it I could find on the internet, and I don't even know for sure if it's the same White Christmas. Aside from that, the only proof I have that this weird little cartoon ever existed is the fact that I have it recorded on an old VHS tape from about 12 years ago. At least from this, we know that the special was also aired in Canada on the CBC, so it's not like it was only shown once. But still, it is kind of creepy to think that this piece of animation that isn't really that old could just, well, disappear. So what show could be so bad that the internet itself has purged it from its memory? Well, let's find out now with White Christmas.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
The show opens with Bing Crosby's classic rendition of White Christmas, which I guess is fitting. But wait, maybe this is the reason the show isn't available. Maybe the Bing Crosby estate was so ashamed to have lent his classic song to this dud that they bought all the master tapes and had them destroyed, just like George Lucas did with the Star Wars Holiday Special. But then that doesn't really hold water since you can still find the Star Wars Holiday Special very easily online. So I guess an unfortunate music licensing deal isn't to blame here. Anyway, our story starts with Dorothy and Peter writing letters to Santa Claus, and oh Lord help me, look at how they drew his face.
Your list doesn't look very long, Dorothy. What are you asking for?
Oh, just some collagen injections so that my lips can be as big as yours.
It would be wonderful. Peter and I've never seen a white Christmas. Remember last year? It rained all Christmas Day.
It might have something to do with the oil refinery at the end of the street, but hey, who knows?
Well, maybe this year you'll be lucky, if Dorothy gets what she's asking for.
Am I the only one who thinks that sounded a little ominous? Also, their father seems pretty oblivious to all these Christmas traditions. I mean, the guy treats writing letters to Santa like it's some funny, weird thing his kids just decided to do, and then has no idea why they're leaving cookies for Santa on Christmas Eve. Did the kids just put up all these decorations without him even noticing? Now, you may be wondering why he's not being called Father Christmas if this is a British TV special, or for that matter, why no one has an English accent. I would research that, but like I said, there's no information on this thing, so I can only guess that the special was either produced with North Americans in mind, or that the dialogue was overdubbed. But thanks to whatever caused this show to be lost, we may never know for sure. So Santa reaches through the wormhole in his bag and pulls Peter's presents from the North Pole's gift warehouse. But it seems he can't give Dorothy the gift of a white Christmas.
I just wanted to tell you that I'm sorry I can't give you a white Christmas.
And my good friend Al Gore is here to explain why. Now you might think there's an environmental message behind this story, but you'd be wrong, because Santa's solution is to take Dorothy and Peter to Weatherland, where someone in charge of the weather should be able to help solve their problem. And oh yes, they also bring their faithful canine companion, the littlest hobo, Scratcher. Because every Christmas special needs a pointless animal sidekick. Wait, are those reindeer just standing perfectly still in midair? I can't tell if this is lazy animation or if Santa's sleigh uses anti-gravity propulsion now. So Santa tells the kids to find Jack Frost, leaves them alone on a cloud in the middle of the sky, and takes off without a glance backward. Really responsible there, Santa. I mean, I know you have over 1 billion houses to get to tonight, but if you're that pressed for time, why take them here at all? And the first person they meet is an Irish stereotype who doesn't play any significant role in the story.
Can you help make it a white Christmas for us tomorrow?
Ha! Not me! I can only make it windy so I can. Try Jack Frost. He's a wintry sort. That's his place. Over the bridge. Now be off with you.
Well, he may not have helped them, but I certainly feel better knowing that wind comes from the mouth of a bipolar leprechaun. And this is where our heroes meet Jack Frost, who... Good lord, where do I even start? I mean, just look at this thing! What is he even supposed to look like? And on top of it all, how did he know that those kids were going to show up at his door? His character is creepy on pretty much every possible level.
Oh, hello there, kids.
I'll give you a helpful hint, kids. If a strange icicle-shaped man with this kind of voice ever invites you into his house, don't accept the offer.
Sorry.
So am I. Because I can't arrange a white Christmas for you. I could make it nice and slippery, though.
No thanks. Ice is dangerous for all the old people.
Let me get this straight, Dorothy. First you just wanted a white Christmas, but now you want snow without ice. Your order's getting pretty tall here, kid. So Jack McCreepy here informs them that they need help from the Snowmaster if they want a white Christmas. So they all pile into his green cardboard biplane and go off to find him. Now I'm sure you're wondering how a biplane is able to take off from a cloud, but are you really going to bring logic into the equation at this point? So the Snowmaster turns out to be a big talking snowman, but unfortunately he's got no time for punks like them.
Well, you're out of luck. I'm off on my winter holidays.
Wait. Let me just get this straight. The Snowmaster, who is in charge of bringing snow during the winter, takes his vacation during the winter. Why would you even take a job like Snowmaster if you can't stand the snow? And for that matter, why are you a snowman?
Florida, here I come.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. He's even taking his vacation in a place where it's hot. I guess I should have known not to trust a guy with a matzo ball for a nose. So yes, it turns out that the villains of this holiday special are the Thunder and Lightning twins, who use their lightning bolts and symbol powers to control storms. Because when I think of Christmas, I think of two guys who look like Super Mario and a high voltage sign. Don't you? Oh crap! Lightning Man's Tesla coil tore the tail right off the plane. But fortunately, they're still somehow able to maintain level flight for a few minutes with absolutely no rear end. Peter plummets through the clouds until he's caught and taken hostage by a group of haunters? Well, it makes as much sense as anything else so far, so why not? Luckily for Jack, Dorothy, and Scratcher, the plane is still able to land in a pile of whipped cream. And then they just walk right out through the gaping hole that's been burned in the back. Because hey, who needs safety precautions? Here they get help from Slusher, a half-melted snowman who sounds like he's had a few too many coolers this morning.
The storm demons have got her brother, Peter.
Oh, dear. Thunder and lightning and their storm demons are a powerful, rough lot. Only the weather wizards on top of their mountain are more powerful.
So our not-so-fearless heroes make their way to the mountain to find out how to rescue Peter. And is it just me, or do these clouds look a lot like soft-serve ice cream? You know, if the weather wizards are in charge of things around here, you'd think they'd at least put in some stairs so people could get to them. Scratcher finds a bone laying on a small cloud next to the path. Well, this clearly isn't suspicious at all. Oh no! But don't try to jump back onto the path or fight them, because there's no way that could work.
We'll have to keep going. Now we've got 2 of them to rescue.
Yeah, right.
Is it just me, or does Jack seem like the most casual rescuer ever? But things start to look up, though, when they find Peter and Scratcher trapped in a frozen ball of snot. Well, I am interested in seeing how this is going to play out, but at this point in the story, I'd really like to know for sure whether or not the villains are still bad.
Tell me, brother, do you ever get fed up with being bad?
Nope. No way!
You know, as awful as this is, I still think part of the blame is on them. I mean, if Laura Croft were doing this, she'd already be across the log and halfway up the mountain by now. But get this, they're saved by landing on top of a hot air balloon.
Who's there?
Oddjob Man? Is that you?
It sure is.
Who? Who is this guy? Where did he come from? How do Dorothy and Jack already seem to know him? Has he been in this show the whole time and I just never noticed? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, so this is Oddjob Man. A character who just seems to appear because it's convenient for the plot. He's never introduced or given a personality, he just smiles and does things when the other characters need him. This moment makes me wonder if White Christmas was part of a longer cartoon series, but at this point I'd rather not know about any more stories involving these characters.
Now what we gonna do?
No problem. We go and find someone else to work our mischief on.
Gee, don't you wish all conflicts were resolved this conveniently? Yeah! I like zapping them people 'cause I ain't never done nothing else. And so finally they reach the top of Mount Crumpet. And since he doesn't have anything to do in the upcoming scene, Oddjob Man stays behind while Dorothy, Peter, and Jack go to find these 2, wizards playing croquet on top of a cloud. You heard me.
Well, tomorrow's Christmas Day. Do you think you could make it a white Christmas this time?
Oh right, this is a Christmas special. You know, I almost forgot, considering that 80% of this special has nothing to do with Christmas. Mostly it's just been these kids and their dog meeting strange people and getting into a bunch of random dangerous situations without any context or explanation whatsoever. Really, one of the only Christmas specials I can think of that's anywhere close to as dreamlike or trippy as this is the Polar Express movie. But at least in that movie, their adventures ended up at the North Pole in Santa's workshop. Here they end up in the living room of the Tetley Tea-Men.
Scratcher?
Oh, sorry, everyone. I must apologize for our dog's behavior.
Oh, yes. But he's our dog.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Are you sure you're in charge of the weather?
Well, at least the other characters recognize how ridiculous it is that these two senile men are in charge of the world's weather. I mean, seriously, is there no performance review on a job this big? And okay, you need to stop looking at her like that.
We just deal in quantities of weather.
But we delegate the running of it to
Jack
Jack Frost
Frost.
here and the other weathermen down the mountain.
Oh, okay, so the weather is controlled by a bunch of bureaucrats who don't have a clue about how their organization is actually run. Why am I not surprised? So then the two wizards explain why weather is a complicated business.
You may want a white
but
Christmas.
what about the hungry little bird looking for food? I'm sure he wouldn't.
Yeah, I can see your point.
He doesn't have a point. All the birds that stay in your area during the winter are adapted to living in those conditions. The ones that aren't have already migrated south. These two guys know nothing about life on planet Earth, and neither do the writers.
Wow! Right. Woof.
Plenty in stock.
A white Christmas for the kids? Why not?
Stop talking in unison or I'll slap you with a dead fish. As if I needed another reason not to trust old men who go around wearing blue, sky-themed pajamas all the time.
Oh no! It's got a puncture.
Can you fix it?
Sure I can. But there's no need to. All aboard for Cloud 9!
Well, isn't that randomly and inexplicably convenient? Here's a good tip to all you up-and-coming writers out there. Writing scripts gets a whole lot easier when you don't bother to explain or give anything context. Well, looks like Santa Claus is back from defeating the Martians, so they can all go home now. And oh hey, they actually are on Cloud 9. Isn't that random?
I think I'm melting.
You better stand at this then.
Okay, I wasn't going to make a pedo bear joke about this guy, but after that, I think I have to.
Odd job man didn't waste any of your time, did he?
A bit, but he's forgiven.
He saved our lives.
Did he?
You can tell I'm not really interested in hearing about it.
And speaking of saving things, I saved these for you and Scratcher.
Oh wow, I hope it's a Honey Boo Boo and Friends playset.
Is it Christmas Day? You wouldn't believe the dream I had last night.
That was no dream, sis. Look, Scratcher's got his present, and there's the one Santa gave to you.
Oh,
I'm surprised you forgot about it since you were holding it and just put it down now.
the rope. The rope from Weatherland.
What? How high up were they that it took all night for the rope to reach the Earth? And for that matter, why was it daylight in Weatherland if this was happening overnight? So Dorothy and Peter run to call their parents outside and then turn on their Jello tape recorder in preparation for the big reveal.
About Dorothy? Go and pull the rope, Scratcher!
Seriously, Dad, I thought you'd be a little more interested in why there's a rope hanging down from the clouds. So the rope activates a big pointless contraption that's designed to use up some of the show's running time.
It's time.
Yes.
Ready, Peter?
When you are, Patter.
Wind stay back, sun stay cool, snow with all your might. Be deep, be crisp, and even to make this Christmas white.
What? You're telling me that's all you had to do to make it snow and you couldn't remember it until now? How have you not been fired? Something starts happening in the weather silo, and then the recording cuts off. Yes, folks, the only copy I have of this special is missing the ending. That's because this show was timer recorded by accident when we were trying to tape a much better show like Garfield's Christmas. This means two things. One, that I don't have to sit through any more of this dribble, and two, that we'll never know for sure exactly what happens to Dorothy, Peter, and Scratcher at the end. But hey, that hasn't stopped me from guessing. My educated theory as to what happens next is that the two wizard idiots don't realize how much snow is in their silo, so they let the whole thing out at once, which buries Peter and Dorothy's entire neighborhood under a mile of snow. Then a giant robotic Bing Crosby shows up, stomps on their house, and burns down the weather wizard's place as payback for using his song on such a wretched show as this. And then Gabe Newell comes by in his steam-powered Zeppelin and says, "God bless us, everyone!" Now, if you want to explain to me how that makes less sense than the rest of this show, I'd like to hear it. So that's White Christmas, and all I can say is that there's a reason why it's been forgotten. The whole thing is basically a string of random events that are barely held together by anything remotely to do with Christmas. The show is far less concerned with telling a story that makes sense than it is with throwing colorful images at kids to keep them entertained. Everything goes on at breakneck speed. Things happen without explanation, characters are introduced and then immediately forgotten, all so that we can get to a conclusion that barely explains anything. The biggest problem with the special, which I know is hard to pick, is that we're never given any time to become familiar with this world of weather or any of its inhabitants. Things happen so quickly that you can never grasp how exactly this place is supposed to work. I guess Jack Frost and the other weather beings are supposed to be in charge of different weather patterns, but we never really see how they work together. We just have to accept the idea that they do these things based on what little explanation we're given. And besides that, practically nothing has anything to do with Christmas. They spend so much time climbing mountains and flying planes into mashed potato clouds that there's barely any time to celebrate the holidays. Oh, but I guess it's still a Christmas special because Santa!
Santa! Oh my God!
And one more thing. Not only is this show random and weird, it's also spectacularly dumb. Remember how I said there isn't any time to get used to the fictional world in this story? Well, there's not only that, but we're also supposed to accept a bunch of explanations of how weather works that are so silly that even a toddler would have trouble believing them. For instance, global warming isn't caused by greenhouse gases. It's happening because the irritable old snowman who controls the snow keeps taking his vacations during the winter. Thunder and lightning are caused by a couple of inbred mutant hillbillies trying to scare a bunch of kids. Not to mention that the whole thing is managed by two wizards who are so dumb they can barely remember their own names. No wonder people never show this thing anymore. It makes people stupid. I'd advise you to stay away from it, but there really isn't any need to, since you won't find it anywhere. And if you do find it, please tell me where, because I'd be fascinated to know. The only reason you might want to watch it is just for the sake of seeing what a TV special that's bad enough to be hidden from the public looks like. Until then, I'm keeping this thing in a place where it can't fall into the wrong hands. And of course, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everyone! So hook up with some family and friends, watch some quality holiday programming, have fun, and share some joy. And as always, thanks for tuning in to the Roy Unit Experience.